You may have heard a relatively unfamiliar name now in the race for Rochester's next mayor. It's Lori Thomas. The former teacher says she's not a party politician, but a public servant who, if elected, will make the city prosperous. And like some of her competitors in the race, she's got a plan for turning vacant lots into homes for veterans, a plan for empowering the lives of seniors, and a plan for improving the lives of city youth. Joining me at the table to make her case for mayor is Lori Thomas, and welcome to the show. It's good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So, Lori, I will start with the same question that I've asked all the candidates who have joined me, and that is why? Why do you want the job for mayor?
Basically because I believe the people should stand up and take power back from government, from party politics government. I have said before, and it's been in the news, I believe that the Democrats control the poverty in the city while the Republicans control the wealth in the suburbs, and that we have to break down. We have to stop that.
There's been this rise of unaffiliated voters in recent years, but in your opinion, how can an unaffiliated candidate like yourself really shake things up in the city of Rochester if elected in ways that a party-affiliated candidate cannot?
Because I'm more involved with the people. I'm more concerned with the success of the people than the success of corporations that want to run the city. We, as a people, have been living under the poverty of corporate control, I believe. We have...
Are there any examples in what you mean?
We have a mayor right now who's doing the best job I know that she thinks she can, but wants to encourage public housing, affordable housing. I want to encourage home ownership by people, okay? Taking the vacant lots that we have in Rochester and providing an opportunity for individuals to build their own homes and live in those homes and thereby increase the tax base of Rochester.
And let's talk about that for a little bit, because that is, you've got a 6-phase revitalization plan, and that's phase 1 of the plan. So it's the Tiny Homes Project.
Yes.
And I've heard about this model out of Kansas City, Missouri. It's called the Veterans Village.
Yes.
I wanted to learn, what exactly does your plan entail?
Well, what we do, I'm not sure if you're familiar with tiny homes. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. My son is a veteran. Both my sons are veterans, actually, but one of my sons suffers from post-traumatic stress syndrome. I have talked with the Veterans Administration, and tiny homes are just these small homes where veterans can feel comfortable, not feel endangered, feel safe. And in those tiny homes, they can actually have a greenhouse erected next to them where they can grow vegetables, food for either veterans, the school board, sell at the public market. In other words, become self-sufficient while they're safe in their own homes. So while under the Dream Tank, we called it the Military Greens Project, okay? That's one of the things that I'd like to do. Another thing that I'd like to do is, with community gardens, place people in homes that they work with Habitat for Humanity to build, but become responsible for the community garden next to them so that they can, again, become self-sufficient and entrepreneurs in growing vegetables, fruits that they can sell at the public market, that they can supply Tops, Wegmans with, that sort of thing. Okay? City Hives is another project. We can get money from the federal government. Because bees are an endangered species, we can actually create beehives within the city that people can take care of and grow honey, bees, whatever.
I want to go to education for just a moment, because as a former educator, and you still work with kids,
yes.
I want to know, what will a Mayor Lori Thomas do for city students that we have yet to see take place at this point? Or what will you focus on that you believe there hasn't been much focus on but could be promising?
Well, those two projects are kind of hand in hand, because once we increase the tax base of the city, we can get rid of that Big Five control from the state. Once we come out from underneath of that Big Five control, we can do like a Fairport or
And you mean, and when you say the Big Five, you mean in terms of funding from city?
In terms of funding, in terms of a paid school board where we cannot, as a people, control the budget process, that sort of thing. Because we just realized in the news that the budget has been not very well held to accountability. Right. So we need to take back that power over our city school district and provide a better form of education for our students.
Do you see yourself, I asked Alex White the same question, if elected as mayor, do you see yourself in terms of working with the city in the front seat, driving some of these efforts, or in the back seat, helping to support them?
Both. I think that it's important to drive the initiatives that I have proposed, but only in response to the people and how they feel about those initiatives.
I know seniors is another big focus for you in terms of your revitalization plan, and you would like to rehabilitate the Psychiatric Center on Elmwood Avenue into a rent-controlled senior living community. We're talking fully stocked barbershops, beauty shops, grocery store, daycare for residents so that they can volunteer and take care of young people.
Yes.
First, how many people do you envision this serving?
It depends on how they reconstruct that property, but we have a large senior community that right now expensive housing is being created for. I'd like to see a co-op where the seniors create their own housing, their own rent control. There's 17 floors. On the top floor, we can have an emergency care unit. On the floor below, I'd like to see a health maintenance facility. I'd like to see a floor where the people who are in intensive care, their families can stay.
How would this be funded, to interrupt?
That would be funded, first of all, through state and federal programs, and then through the co-op itself. Because once we get seniors living in there, we can lease properties to Wegmans or whatever food store would go there, lease property to barbershops, lease property to daycares, that sort of thing. So once the community began, it would begin to take care of itself.
Before we have to close, I want to ask you, on day one, if elected, what would you tackle first? Align with the issues that are of importance to voters: jobs, better education, safer streets, mitigating poverty.
What I would tackle first is communication between governments.
And how would you do that?
I think that's so important. By working very, very closely with Monroe County government and then with state government. Right now, I think there's a disconnect between those two, and that needs to be rectified immediately.
All right. Well, Lori Thomas, as you know, viewers know, we've been inviting all of the candidates in the mayoral race for 2017 at the table, so I appreciate you being here today. And to learn more about the campaign of Lori Thomas, go to thomasformayor.wordpress.com.